First of all, everybody, welcome to the second edition of the New Orleans Poetry Festival here at Nicholls. We're so grateful that you're with us today. I want to especially thank the New Orleans Poetry Festival itself and its incredible organizers, Sean Monroe, who's here today. Also, Lisa Pasold, who organized the international feature for this year's festival. They started working on this, it seems pretty much right after the festival ended last year. So some of the things that are coming to fruition today and this week have been a year or more in the making. So we're very, very grateful for the partnership that we have with you guys at the New Orleans Poetry Fest. We also want to offer a very special welcome today to our international visitors. So we have poets who are with us from France, Virginie, Frédéric, Michel, and the musician Joce, who are going to be performing for you guys over the next hour or so. So guys, welcome to the Bayou, welcome to Nicholls State University. We're really, really happy to have you here. And you will get to hear them read in French. You'll get to hear the way that they express themselves in the French language, which is, as you know, very much a part of our identity here in South Louisiana, and very much a language that's still alive in the Bayou region. So this is something that we're really excited for, very grateful for as well. So thank you guys for being here. Guys, I just wanted to make just a quick remark just to kind of situate things a little bit before we get started today. One of the things that often comes up when we study poetry and when we talk about poetry is we get a sense that poets think about what poetry is in very different ways. Poets have very different ideas as to what a poem might be, very different ways of understanding what is most essential about the task of poetry. This afternoon, in a short period of time, we're going to get to experience a very rich variety of approaches to the poem. You'll encounter very different ideas of what poetry is, but I also think you'll find, I hope you'll find, that all of the performers we have here today are offering us something very similar and very vital. And that's the chance to encounter language in a way that's different than the way we encounter it in our everyday lives. So we know language surrounds us all the time. Conversations, text messages, emails, gossip, the news, all the things like syllabi that we make our students read. And we're always surrounded by language. And sometimes this language can inspire us and make us feel more connected, but it's also true that this language can wear us down, and it can leave us wanting something different. It can leave us wanting something more. And I feel like that's where poetry comes in. I like to think of poetry as a kind of language that nourishes us, that helps us to listen differently. A kind of language that doesn't simply represent the world, but that might be a little more like the world itself, that might give us a kind of ground or terrain that we can stand on, that we can maybe, find new ways to listen from. I will say that our first reader, who I'm going to introduce now, is someone whose poems have often been that kind of ground or terrain for me. David Middleton is an acclaimed poet. His work is tied closely to both North and South Louisiana. Shreveport native, he served for 33 years as professor of English here at Nicholls, leaving a singular mark on the university while also managing to make a contribution to Southern and American literature, a contribution that will endure. He's published many books of verse, including The Burning Fields, As Far as Light Remains, Beyond the Chandeliers, The Habitual Peacefulness of Grouchy, The Fiddler of Driscoll Hill, and Outside the Gates of Eden. And David is celebrating something of a milestone this year His collected poems, Time Will Tell, will be released later this summer by Texas University Press. So, very honored to have him here today, and if you can help me give a warm welcome to David Middleton.
That's the hardest part. At my age, that's the hardest part, getting up the stairs. Now this will be fine.
Is this good right here?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you think's best. It's a little hot, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. I'm still a growing boy at 75. I'm concentrating on poems of mine that are related to French culture and France and Louisiana. For many years, I wrote poems set in either North or South Louisiana. Then I reached a point at which I felt I had said all that I could think of to say, for a while at least, about my native state. I needed a new subject, so I thought I would try writing poems based on pictures. I chose paintings by the 19th century French artist Jean-François Millet, 1814 to 1875. Like many young artists, Millet began his career by depicting subjects from Greek and Roman myth or from the Bible, and by imitating past masters. In time, Millet found his true subject, the peasants who worked the fields, tended flocks of sheep, or labored in their cottages, yards, and gardens, either in Millet's native Normandy or just outside the village of Barbizon, where Millet settled after a few years of living in Paris. Born in the village of Grouchy, Millet himself came of peasant stock and once said, "I was born a peasant, and peasant I shall remain." And, like a kind of revelation, I discovered, painting by painting, that Millet's world was not unlike the rural North Louisiana that I had known as a child. In his pictures, Millet, without sentimentally over-idealizing them, raises these almost medieval peasants of late pre-industrial France up to a level of dignity, sometimes even tragic dignity, traditionally reserved in literature and the other fine arts for persons of high station, persons such as kings and queens, princes and generals. This afternoon, I will read 2 of these 16-line Millet poems. The first poem is entitled Goose Girl Bathing. Is she up there now? Don't forget to look at the geese now. The Goose Girl was a young girl who at about age 2 until puberty had the job of shooing the family geese back and forth between the barnyard and the pond. This was her first job. For this painting, Millet used one of his daughters as his model. Goose Girl Bathing. Late morning and secluded in the cool of May's green banks and boughs, this hidden stream, a girl, perhaps 15, sheds all her clothes and rests beside the waters where she'll bathe. Her geese and ganders paddle in the wet, where she as yet but dips one ankle in, her gangling body rounding out in soft womanly contours, thighs, hips, belly, breasts. She's been the family goose girl 13 years and knows her time as such is near its end. Between the trees of life and innocence, she stares at her reflection's steady change. Above her, in dense foliage, 2 white cows see all that young men soon will vie to see. Flesh warming toward its noon in rose and blue. those filtered sun shafts rippling in the depths. A decided preference for focusing on art about subjects other than oneself also links me to Millet. In my second Millet poem, a poem on his picture entitled Self-Portrait, the painter and the poet become all but one as Millet's France and my Louisiana converge. Normandy, of course, is by the English Channel, as Louisiana is by the Gulf. The Onos, who were tailors in Cherbourg, were his first wife's family. One conventional self-portrait was made to impress them, but it did not depict Millet as he really was. A second self-portrait is the subject of my poem, Self-Portrait. Such portraits in your works are early, rare. Just two, in fact, that Cherbourg fantasy tailored to Ono in-laws. White shirt starched, a black cravat, cheeks shaved like sheep well shorn, and this arch countering image, full rich beard, high velvet collar, right eye bright, urbane, and frank. The other, warier in dark, bohemian and peasant, sundered, one. Yet neither does you justice. Your true face disclosed in self-effacingness alone. A model artist modeling on God, your kingdom ringed by Ptolemaic stars. And in these poems, I've disappeared in you. Or is it that you lost yourself in me? Our shapes and phrases, so alike composed, your channel in the Gulf, my south in Normandy. After Millet's death in 1875, Vincent van Gogh saw and was overwhelmed by an exhibition of Millet's pictures and called the world of these pictures holy ground. Over many years, Louisiana, both north and south, had become my own holy ground. And so by writing a book of 60 poems on Millet's picture, a book published in 2005 by LSU Press, I had closed a great circle, and by going to Millet's France, had actually come back home. My third and final poem is entitled Beyond the Chandelures, a poem which recounts the discovery of the mouth of the Mississippi River by the French explorer Iberville on February 2, 1699, Candlemas Day, on the church calendar, a day that celebrates the presentation of the Christ child at the temple and the recognition there by the old man Simeon of the child as the long-awaited Messiah. Its historical references place the poem deeply within French culture and the Christian tradition. The poem closes by expanding the meaning of the word temple to include the whole of creation, whose candles are the stars. Beyond the Chandelures, reached and named by Iberville, February 2, 1699. Old channels of the river's ancient bed, gone under shores, black waters lush and tar, 10,000 years have swung from side to side for more than 50 miles through swamp and marsh. And underneath the waves of Brittain Sound, a buried delta settles on the shelf, worn down by storms and tides 9 centuries. Here, where the Mississippi found the Gulf, while St. Bernard, for whom the place is named, inside remote Clairvaux, as tapers blazed, praised Mary as the mother of the child, whose mortal flesh was hers, and hers his grace. And now, 300 years from Iberville, this frigid winter dawn, the very day whose name he gave those shores toward which we sail, we cross the Sound to find the Chandeleur so luminous in moonlight, crescent dunes, bleak beaches without islands, miles from land, forever washed by waves that crash across their narrow breadth, channeling in the sand. And as we pass by slowly, south-southwest, we see in mingled gleams of moon and sun bubbling over the salt and wind-blown foam, the play of shape and chaos, our true home. So too is that grim interim, the break, rent Christendom in 1699. Iberville sailed on, blind through sleet and fog, threading the low marsh islands, mud drift logs, and those hooked spits of swirling sea and earth, moving through uncreation where his men would dig deep pits to make fresh water wells and sleep on planks above the flooding strand. Yet when at last he reached the Chandeleurs, whose myrtles yielded wax for Candlemas, he tasted in the wind-borne glazing rain sweet water from the Mississippi's mouth. And though we find no myrtles on these shores, we still can glimpse within each twinkling grain, so near black dregs of marshes and the rigs, glimmering hints old Simeon discerned in eyes that glowed with heaven's native light, just as these stars, like whirling hurricanes, come from the vast galactic nursing grounds, candles that burn in scattered grains of flame, now blaze the blatant purpose of the world beyond the chandelures that still remain within this star-torched temple love preserves, declaring till the end their given name. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
It's a hard part.
Yeah. Thank you, David. It's a great joy to be here. Wow, now the microphone's very, very high. All right. Can you hear me? Is that solid? All right. Thank you, Nicholls State. Thank you, Chris, for inviting us all here. My name is Lisa Pasold on behalf of the New Orleans Poetry Festival. We are so excited to be here and to be able to share this work and this experience with the visiting French poets. So thank you so much for your welcome. We really appreciate it. To get us going with the French aspect of the evening, it's a huge pleasure for me to introduce the performer Joce Mienniel. He's an award-winning jazz improviser and a flautist now based in Paris. He's just visiting Louisiana for a week, so we're really lucky for him to be here. And he is actually the winner of a unanimous Premier Prix de Jazz, and he's a member of Daniel Ivanek's Orchestre National de Jazz, so give it up for Joce.
Thank you so much. All right, Jess, thank you. Merci beaucoup pour ça. Our next reader is going to be Jace Brittain. Jace is the author of the novel Sorcerer and a founding editor of Carrion Bloom Books. Jace's writing, poetry, and translations have appeared in many journals, and Jace is also a colleague of ours in the Department of English, Modern Languages, and Cultural Studies here at Nicholls. So let's give a big round of applause for Jace Brittain.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'm trying to get this one.
It's genuinely an honor. Telling of the bees. In the Museum of Jurassic Technology, curious building, unassuming architectonics of room to room, eye, curio to curio, eye, anatomical dissections of noise/voice producing organs in humans and insects, eye tongue, eye throat, eye wings, eye in notes on exhibit, note the following. Speedball, 2023, gelatin silver print. Listen. Polymath, thematic, or otherwise, the bees must be told. We can explain. This is marriage. A rattling small chain of keys, a tide, which lifts coffin and hive in unison, blanks funeral notice. Curiosity cabinet, Die Wunderkammern, 2010, dyed, mercerized, applied, cotton thread. Phenomena of passing through room, after room after entering and entering and entering should insinuate a promise of tea, shallow, bird song, relief, curation in a world bound by knots, and curiosity's cabinets, singular demand of singular attention, easy as counting to, and yet, in this accounting, ensuing landscape, breadth, sounds, heat, death, documentary, fictions, so much fictions, artifice, art, smallnesses, realities, and Horn of Stinkant, 2015. Lithograph, wax rampant, an inhaled spore and a parasitic antenna I've grown, which now leads my way. And Blank's insistence, no inborn path nor perception sign will announce to the larva and yet, and etc., and radial pentagonal snaring device, 1872. Solid lead taut thread. Sonic nose through, Griffith describes in Objects the piercing demon. Employed concrete in the wheel, radar smell, enormous obstacle influence, emissions key, depromori screaming, suspended, the cruelty of belling the bat. Diagram of our echo field, flat bones, X-ray, robbing our lens of flight. Mussurgia Universale, 1650, audio on 4 telephones. Among my curiosities and a dead bee's bad words, better than an end world stubbed toes, collection of antediluvian bones. There lies Blank's clock, which tells what time it was when. Hildebrand Quest, 1988. Pulped, Xeroxed paper. Pulped, twinned mammals hide, dry. Skin slough collide. Oh, scopic. Blank's lucid sore, infected with what else? A shrinking mirror, image, a fractal, flaky, second self and second selves in each bloody drop, springing putridly off and between cracks. The micro miniatures of Hagopsandalgium, 1990, sewing needle and human hair. Camel Eye Prisoner's Cinema, blasphemy of Blank's eye, lidless transparency, obscene saint of smallnesses, his hair on the saint's head, his hair on the needle's head, Salome's dance and Salome's kiss, bloody clutch thumb slips between John's lips, bloody breasts, John's lips to which a still image all, a seeming way clear to forgive, the guillotine. The guillotine is a magnifying lens. The whole body is a virtual image. Kiefer's Ars Magnesia, 1631, frontispiece, dry point. Awful vastness. Analog. Mask of urine, spittle palms, blank scarves we'd spoiled in search of our secret knots. Non-Curation 1, 2024. Mixed media. Chair tangle. Mirror blank. Sewn needle. Dry point diamond tip. Microscopic shard slides. Dumbbell mold. Modest olive mount. Dowel piece. Hat hook, coat hook. Attic mold jar. Paints on can, wax stain lift. Summer felts. Lithograph of rust-struck nails. Banknote intaglio. Hung doorless hinges. Sonobend 2, 2023. Relief etching. Memory is the glim-glam forgetting, don't you think? The glim-glam forgetting shadow. A diagram, a cone, a bisecting plane, a raya, a sorrow, a void, a fill, a comet, a strike, a left foot, a right hand, a cross, the heart, and Milton. Delaney 1, 1936. Bell mold, clay. Sung note, rung no. Peeled from throat, torn by I sing, you cast the voice. Thank you.
All right, Jace, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Our next reader is going to be Lisa Pasold, who's also one of the organizers of the festival this year. Lisa is originally from Montreal. She's published 6 books. Her 2012 book, Any Bright Horse, was nominated for Canada's Governor General's Award for Poetry. She's been writing daily poems for 2 decades. The resulting work has appeared in a number of magazines and journals. Lisa has taught creative writing at the American University in Paris, and she has worked as a journalist for publications like the Chicago Tribune and Billboard magazine. And her favorite cocktail is the French 75. So, Lisa, thanks.
Hi again. Thank you. That seems good, yeah? Yes? All right. It's wonderful, David, that you read a poem that involved Iberville in the Beyond the Chandeliers piece you read. Thank you. Because actually for, half a dozen years, I have been working on a manuscript I just finished about Bienville, Jean-Baptiste Lemoine de Bienville, who was Iberville's brother and is the so-called founder of New Orleans. So I'm going to read a long poem from that manuscript. It's called Sharp. Thank the earth. Draw the circle with salt water. Thank the air. Light the candle. Summon your chosen ghost. If I pour out salt water in the shape of a circle, if I sit on the ground, if I protect myself, if I anchor my soul to the earth, if I thank the air, if I light the white candle, if I call out to the ghost, if I wait. Eyes fluttering, pupils track, dream underground, dream the earth, this boat, the sidewalk, this under my feet is buried in tidal water. There's a bronze plaque set high at 15 rue Vivienne, 12e arrondissement, Paris, à côté du Palais Royal. 3/4 profile, head and shoulders, gravé là-haut, looking down from the plaque. It's set too high on the wall to read. Dans cette maison, le 7 mars 1767 is dead. À l'âge de 87 ans, Jean-Baptiste Lemoine de Bienville, mort à Paris, né à Montréal, fondateur de la Nouvelle-Orléans in 1718. But the Paris building where you died has been gone some centuries. I conjure, conjecture the street beneath. I have abandoned les États-Unis fantasmatiques, where reality mashes into cinematic obsessions, put on accents, put upon loves, until there's nothing but smoke flickering, an antlered stag leaping from embers, burning questions in whatever books I have left. Now I'm in France digging to find this gravure, this grave of your unpretty profile with the city of New Orleans shining in that slate of your hand. There's nothing to see here. Bit of handwriting, some distinctive, very much of your era, kind of loops and lies. I had some photographs on my phone, but it got stolen, so you'll have to trust me. Nothing reliable. Nothing reliable is left. A few cities, a few letters, a few deeds, a few sculptures. Most of the facts are misremembered. There's nothing to see here but some nightmares. Let's call this your story and mine, ghost. Even if your story is ugly, tough, skin like leather, hard to chew, because I'm in need of toughness. I need it, unfortunately, and I know it's in me. Héritage, ugliness. Let's talk about that. I am writing an essay on the founder of New Orleans. No, that's not true. I am writing an essay about a Frenchman. That's not true either. I'm writing an essay about a con man, always with the pretty patter, always with the scheme, jealous of other, elder, brother, father. That would be Iberville. Charming and untrustworthy, always about to pull off just one more job. That's a lot closer. Or Bayou débordé, overflowing. What borders, words flood away into this bog, this accumulation, leaves, algae, moss, decayed matter, trees, knees, this state of being bogged down, seeping, seeking, giving rise to evil smells, worse spirits, keening bogeyman, saturated and kneeling, or marécage, cet interprète québécois short, not handsome, 10th kid of an indentured translator, orphaned kid, mariner inventing the self, sailor, survivor, interpreter, colonizer, government employee, retiree, unsettled man. Essentially malleable like the waterways. Let me be portmanteaued all over this damn place, then stripped down furry parts. I drove into a highway sign. I ended up in New Orleans. I dug my hands into the swamp mud at the edge of that bayou, and what came rising? Spirit with burning candles, entangled hair, snake wrapped round and around. She said to me, best not take this good city's name in vain. My mouth fills with sick. I stumbled, high ferns, while the young, earnest ghosts with porcupine faces spit momentary saliva bubbles pouring from their mouths. Nothing is real and everything is. Just past Baronne, on Calliope, I was driving that secondhand Prius, idling near Circle Auto Electric. I look out my driver's side window and see a stag standing in the lee of the concrete off-ramp from the I-10. The creature is calmly majestic beside a zipped-up blue tent and a worn red velvet throne with golden trim. Sunrise painting, propped sideways in the shade. There's no one else here, only the stag, its antlers immense, just fitting beneath the angled off-ramp. That off-ramp with the light changing, just the stag, and then I drive on. I know there's no world where the stag was there, but it was. Real. I don't know what vision means, what a vision means. I don't know what that means, ghost. I make no pretense here. That white-tailed stag was no phantom, with its antlers slightly asymmetrical, with its balanced ears, with its dark eyes alert like you, ghost. The white markings at its chest, its lush brown coat, all muscular strength, pausing to turn its head and see me, look directly into my eyes. I'm not special like that. I tell you this truly, with my hands held out. Ghost, your time is over. I thank you. I let you go. I let you go. I blow out the candle. I blew out the candle. The earth and the air and the water let you go. I wipe away the circle. I bow. I walk away. Ghost, I am not good at letting this go. Thank you. I also get to be here in order to introduce the three poets we have visiting from Paris. I'm really thrilled to be here to do that. I'm going to start off with Frédéric Forte. Frédéric Forte is a poet. I'm going to quote critic Tony Messenger about his work. I absolutely agree with this analysis. Frédéric's work forces you to pause, as if in an art gallery, to observe, linger, absorb, reflect before moving on. Each poem is an artwork in its own right, a creation that can work on numerous levels, artistically, literarily, poetically, theatrically, and structurally. That's Tony Messenger. Frédéric was born in Toulouse. He currently co-heads the MFA in creative writing at Le Havre, and he's been a member of Oulipo since 2005. Give it up for Fred.
Thank you, merci. Merci Lisa, merci Chris and Sean. I've got a question. Would you prefer me to read in English and understand, or me to read in French? And I know some of you don't speak French. So, okay. French. So anyway, there will be an image. It will be the subject of the poem.
Haha, yeah.
And it's live right now in Australia, where Tony Messenger comes from, actually. So I'm going to read the first and the centerpiece of this book called Dire Ouf. It's going to be a one long sentence prose poem called The Pitch Drop Experiment. L'expérience de la goutte de poids. Dans l'expérience de la goutte de poids, certaines quantités de poids, disons de poids, qui est le nom générique donné à une matière extrêmement visqueuse, asphalte, résine, goudron, bitume, et d'avoir chauffé, puis versé dans un entonnoir dont on a pris soin d'obstruer le cou pour que 3 années durant, la poix refroidisse et se stabilise à température ambiante. Après quoi, l'entonnoir est débouché, placé sous une cloche de verre, et l'on peut alors commencer à observer l'écoulement du liquide, puisque, contre toute apparence, ça m'étonne, voire photo. Cela se passe à l'université du Queensland, à Brisbane, Australie, en 1927. Cela se passerait n'importe où ailleurs que ça reviendrait à peu près au même. Il existe, depuis 1944, une expérience de la goutte de poids au Trinity College de Dublin, et une expérience plus ancienne a récemment été découverte à l'université d'Aberystwyth, pays de Galles, à peine 85 miles au nord de laquelle se trouve, sur l'île d'Anglesey, le village de Llanfai Porthgwyngyr dont le nom signifie l'église de Sainte-Marie dans le creux du noisetier blanc près d'un tourbillon rapide et l'église de Saint-Icilio près de la grotte rouge. Expérience qui aurait débuté en 1914, mais dont la poix excessivement visqueuse n'a pour l'instant donné aucune goutte. Une goutte se forme très lentement, parce que la poix, gonfle très lentement jusqu'à se détacher de l'entonnoir au bout d'une dizaine d'années. La première goutte tombe en décembre 1938, 8 ans après qu'on eut, octobre 1930, retiré le bouchon. La deuxième goutte, 8 ans plus tard, février 1947. La troisième, en avril 1954, 7 ans. Les suivantes, en mai 1962, août 1970, avril 1979, juillet 1988, novembre 2000. 8, 8, 9, 9 et 12 ans. La dernière en date, la 9e, est tombée le 24 avril 2014. Presque 14 années après la précédente. L'allongement notable de la durée des chutes à compter de 1988 pouvant s'expliquer par l'installation à cette date dans la pièce de l'air conditionné. Occasionnant, c'est une supposition, une légère baisse de la température moyenne pour un total provisoire de 9 gouttes en près de 85 ans. Sachant qu'il en ira ainsi, bon an, mal an, toutes les décennies, jusqu'à épuisement de l'échantillon de poids, dans une centaine d'années environ. Sachant que cela se produira forcément, se produit à chaque fois, que l'on soit présent ou pas dans la pièce, au moment où la goutte se détache. Et de fait, aucun des scientifiques supervisant l'expérience, tour à tour Thomas Powell, John Manstone, aujourd'hui Andrew White, n'a jamais pu assister en direct à la séparation d'une goutte. Mais l'expérience est désormais filmée 24 heures sur 24, ça marche même quand ça ne marche pas, sans que cette goutte n'interagisse d'ailleurs en aucune manière avec quoi que ce soit d'autre, guerre mondiale, guerre froide, conquête spatiale, ascension de l'Everest, des Beatles, premier, deuxième choc pétrolier, chute du mur de Berlin, bug de l'an 2000, 11 septembre, etc., que l'observateur, qui finit éventuellement par se demander, étant donné qu'il y en a encore pour longtemps, s'il a réellement ici affaire à une succession d'événements discrets dont l'observation serait précisément déclenchée par l'occurrence de ce qu'on appelle un événement, par exemple la chute d'une goutte de poids, ou bien à un phénomène continu, pur écoulement de temps en quelque sorte, puisque l'objet de l'expérience est au fond de mesurer la viscosité d'un liquide que l'on exprime en pascal seconde, que justement la seconde, dont le Bureau international des poids et mesures nous dit qu'elle n'est plus définie aujourd'hui en fonction de la révolution de notre planète autour du Soleil, mais par rapport à une propriété de la matière, la seconde est la durée de 9 192 631 770 périodes de la radiation correspondante à la transition entre les niveaux hyperfins F égale 3 et F égale 4 de l'état fondamental 6S1,5 de l'atome de césium 133 est l'unité de base la plus commode pour mesurer du temps. L'une des réponses possibles se situant quelque part entre les deux, un système hybride dont la caractéristique première serait l'étirement. Pas un étirement infini, non, parce qu'il arrive toujours un moment où le liquide casse, mais un étirement suffisamment prolongé dans le temps pour que celui qui en serait le spectateur occasionnel passé entre les gouttes en vint sérieusement à douter n'étaient celles déjà tombées et conservées en témoignage d'un avant dans un bocal à proximité, qu'il existât effectivement la certitude d'un après, c'est-à-dire un écoulement réel de la matière placée dans l'entonnoir qui aboutit inévitablement à une chute. Thank you. And I can send the translation for non-French speaker on simple demand. I can send it by email and you have the explanation of this longest payment, certificate payment in Australia.
Thanks, Fred. I love that line in your poem where it's when he says, nothing happens, it's fine. It doesn't work.
It's live.
It's live.
It was happening live.
I know it's live. Nothing is happening live. It's a great pleasure to introduce the next poet visiting from Paris. Michelle Noteboom, poet Cole Swenson writes this about her work. Michelle Noteboom probes human possibility, revealing how it can betray humanity, but also how ultimately it returns to it. I first met Michelle at a poker game in Paris, and what impresses me most about her work is her sense of play with language, as you will see. As a translator and poet, Michelle has worked on a wide variety of films, video installations, books, including working on the translation adaptation for Visage Village, which is by French film iconic director Agnès Varda. Michelle grew up in Michigan and holds a master's degree from la Sorbonne Nouvelle. Michelle.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Chris. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you, everyone, for coming out in the middle of the daytime to listen to poetry. It's really exciting to be here. Now, I hope that with my new glasses, I can see my work. I am going to read only in English. I am from Michigan, although I have dual nationality. I'm also Française, but as you can hear, I am a native English speaker and I only write in English, so I will be reading only in English. And this first poem is called, At Least I Don't Clean Cat Puke in My Dreams. On what shelf did I find you, my elfin cabalist, my desired software, my meteorite doodle, my easy bake cake of juicy turpitude stealing my element of fire? It's true we all want the golden goose and a tiny little city sparkling in the haze, but honestly, do you really like the feel of latex? The inventiveness of a half-moon smile tipped back in the blackbird sky while my eyes implode in a pinprick dot. Don't you dare backburner me. Remember, self-inflicted epidural rhymes with coral, and I never met a metaphor I didn't like. You swooped down with your stormy feather cape to smother me with your brooding brow, your sea-green eyes, your bandaged paw and rawness, nasty from the house of nasty. It was dandy till the moral minder meddled in, us rubbing broken pieces of our bodies hard together. People should be free to create their own guilt, their own scrap heap. Their own Batman is basically just a regular guy. Cigarettes and power saws at sunrise, a mysterious bruise that bloomed behind the knee in the night. I never met a lichen I didn't like. Heading forth with feelers out, articulating the origins of risk, upping the panty on a heavy metal rocker organ gone astray. Left to itself, the mind derails the background chorus of marionettes, mimes the libretto. I sit alone, with my candle lit, swallowing sailors' souls. Ask not what the cockroach can do for you, but what you can do for the cockroach. Listen up, all you multitasking court gestures, 'cause we ain't in Kansas anymore. In the terrarium, the piped-in mechanical ambient crackles got everybody coming all the time. DIY, DUI. Could you shinny up that tree and pluck me an apple? We shape the past through our present eyes and knowledge. By the way, so sorry to hear about your femur. Wooden nymphs and noblemen in shadow pumpkin boxes, the terrible gaping is unfazing and magnetic, holding out for an apt remark as the occasional cherub head floats by in the rearview mirror. Things I believe in: saddles, snow, the ego, intelligent uses of shag. Excusez-moi, but your hair is infringing on my personal space. Saint whoever on a horse with ho-hum human eyes, fairly bored, another infidel to trample, all in a hard day's work. Deliver us from liver, gold filigree and garlands. Real art might be wise for once. I'm a muse, he cried. I'm a muse, he cried. I feel all gushy inside. But he still can't wrap his mind around those self-inflicted socks. Watch now as we teeter into the votive dusk, romancing the plebes, that revved up bevy of backpackers desperately seeking 2-for-1 dinner specials. A pink corn snake curls slender round my finger in imitation of some intimate gesture. Raise the needle and put a new record on. Sure. This is better. The body at rest has less potential for bruising. He came dressed in the desultory language of a newfound dental disorder, packing stalwart pity from a box, looked me bipedally straight in the teeth and muttered, "Scapegrace." Only the klepsydra will tell. He wears that wettened stutter look. A keeper of spiders and little purple petal squares, toting double-fisted fire from a deep down harshened land. We are sneaking up on the epicenter, the baptismal font, the very moment his synapses start misfiring. Can you hear the harbingers harbinging? Yahoo says suckable or fixable, hackable, hintable, lockable, packable, bookable, likable, but won't go in for fuckable. Something/something dot whatever. Turn your random emotion generator to high and accept the lack of destination. Satyrs engaged in a synchronized swim, dialing for dicks or disasters. You and I are a ball rebounding off the net, suspended in shimmer, freeze-framed rain about to flutter fall. Angels and their water wings rise and descend as we tango through an invisible maze. One step forward, no steps back, do the hokey pokey in an ethereal float. Our nouns go in, we take them out, but spare us Patrick Swayze in a wetsuit. Weathering rock rose emerges, weathering feathers and leather and lace. There's a whale in the Thames, there's a he and a she. There's a flicker, then a flicker, then a nosebleed. Your breath condenses into silent stretches across my alabaster back. The shutter clicks. We close our eyes and begin to usher. I am not the beautiful swimmer. What utility remains in a homegrown, grown, milk-fed and unfenced in a silent Sirocco sigh betwixt two sparrows, i.e. courting, collapsing in the parlor, exhausting the bubblegum supply? Separation is a bittersweet lozenge lodged in the throat, an absinthe-laced specter pressed up against the pillow, a tiny Hirohito on a motorbike. We must take care to remember our dead, their hands wringing water from a woolly rag. What a drag. A lousy break, but spare us the garden variety grief, a half-melted visual haunt in 100 shades of gray eavesdropped into my mind. Try to temper the body's language as you Google your emotion, your symptom, yourself. If I sleep in your bed, will I dream your 58 dreams? New and improved restrictions governing the angles of an origami brain. Last night, the shortened train that tunneled its way so adeptly through the mountain snow, the lone skater gliding into icy thunder squall. The underwater us goes haywire like the tiles. Fairy-like fish hung translucent on a hook. Doing darkened things in a darkened poppy room. The screen blinks. Discount, erection, madness. Defrosting the fridge, the marble of the meat and the sinew in the pillar. After lights out, it's lights back on again. Another image seeps into the floor, pulsing and hatching like the scary blue of an umbilical cord. We're done.
To wrap up today, it's a great pleasure to introduce Virginie Poitrasson. I'm going to quote Ben Lerner, who writes about Virginie's work. In Virginie Poitrasson's The Unlikeness of Things, the terror of depersonalization alternates with the promise of new senses. Every border in this beautiful book is strained until it vibrates. For me, I'm generally awestruck by Virginie's nerve. In her many poetry books, she dissects mental, emotional, and physical states of being with surgical precision, using language as a knife. She also has a great link to Louisiana. She studied at Tulane and taught there, and then spent time in New York and went back to Paris, where she's now based. But it's wonderful that she is back in Louisiana. Please give it up for Virginie Poitrasson.
Hello, bonjour. So I'm very touched to be here today. I'm going to speak a little bit French also, but Just to introduce myself, I'm going to read two poems in English first. So to say thank you to my dear friend Michel who translated them into English. And then I'm going to switch to French. And the first two poems are from my French book called Pas comme si des choses, which in English is The Unlikeness of Things. And the next following French poems are from my latest book in French called Tantôt, Tantôt, Tantôt. How do I appear from a distance, walking as I do through the narrow hollow, like someone you could easily miss, like someone you technically see but don't perceive in the usual way, like a woman, anonymous to herself, like someone you see and forget you've seen instantly like that, like someone whose body is transparent, verging on invisible, like a ghost severed from desire, like an ethereal being almost sidereal, but the sidereal is awkward, the ethereal presses down. How do I appear from a distance, walking as I do through the narrow hollow? Trees, lamps, bikes, they wear something. Their costumes are made of paint, varnish, bark, dust, damp and rust. But there are also naked things, which are invisible. And when I come down to the street, as if naked, I belong to those invisible things. I'm scared. It's so simple and so real. I try to put my fear to sleep, to surround it, but I am in the howling of the world. It's the howling aspect, naked, the unlikeness of things. The other dimensions lie flat. There is no flip side there, only shrillness. Only the grazing of things is seen as a solution, in the form of a quest for thickness, of the meanest facts to maintain oneself somewhat there, attain a semblance of dimension. Brush my cheek, scratch a pimple, blink my eyes, run my tongue over my teeth, yawn to poke my ears, stretch my toes, swallow slowly. And I am told your body is quite an accident. Own your own suffering and it will go away. I am told a body is always a work in progress. Yours is constantly reinventing itself. You're lucky. I am told your body can get away from you. Be attentive to it. Embrace it. I am told, yes, it's an interweaving of nerves and bones, but look through it and you will see all different matter. I am told your thoughts are manufactured in your flesh and sometimes it overeats. I am told you will try to get around yourself for convenience, but instead of go where you're not forced to, into your own pipes. I am told you are as much inside as outside. You are this essential passage. I am told nothing stops the passing through, not even the fake leather of skin. You are circulation. I am told your body is assembled around red dots. Let them shine. I am told your story is like the circumference of your body. Measure it. Leave nothing out. I am told if you were going to die, it wouldn't happen suddenly, but surprisingly slow, like for most of us. I am told if you are here, it's because we are talking about when it could happen. You are preparing yourself. Embrace it. I am told there is the everyday pain. Let your accomplishments offset them. Become an Olympic gymnast. Encore un. La composition de l'odeur de peur diffère de celle de notre transpiration normale. La peur accentue le clignement des yeux, le danger affûte notre sens de l'odeur. Et il y a des lieux qui provoquent une cécité paysagère, qui occasionnent toutes sortes de visites exorcismes, qui démultiplient les histoires de pluie et de beau temps, déploient les plus grandes rumeurs de pollution et d'abandon. En ces endroits, le langage est un réseau aux courbes dangereuses. Les rumeurs créent des mots pour dire ce qui sourd de ces lieux. Elles donnent de la matière à l'inquiétude pour mieux tenter de l'éloigner, de l'occulter. Si l'on écoute la rumeur, sous son apparent silence, on peut entendre, face à l'abrupte du risque, tout un ensemble de stratégies en place pour tenter de tenir. Mais, invariablement, ces lieux sécrètent l'oubli, suscitant littéralement des trous de mémoire. La peur est d'abord liquide, sans fond, sans nom, sans pli. Elle est aussi absence, ni limite, ni repère, ni contour. Elle est péripétie, invasive, diffuse, omniprésente. En réchappe-t-on ? La peur liquéfie, pétrifie, précipite, solidifie, aveugle, sépare, immobilise, condense, dissout, cloue, aplatit, exclut, rétrécit, frappe, coule, atteint, soumet, entrave, dévoile, stimule, sublime, paralyse, subjugue, défait, floute, éclate, envahit, multiplie, engendre, renverse, annule, écrase, siège, recouvre, ignore, obsède, interrompt, dédouble, siège, confronte. Elle ne se laisse comprendre que par mouvement second, réponse ou contre-coup. Comment épouser la terreur ? Sa forme est tout, sa forme n'est rien, elle est seulement inséparable, mais l'inséparable n'est pas en elle, n'est pas hors d'elle, n'est pas sans elle. Les contours des objets, des images extérieures et intérieures, l'ossature de la pensée, se sont liquéfiés. Nous rétrécissons à l'intérieur par exclusion, irrésistiblement nous glissons, aussi vaste soit-elle à l'extérieur. Mais, en rétrécissant, nous nous additionnons les uns aux autres dans les chambres noires, nous marchons en cercle pour ouvrir une voie. Nous taillons l'opacité, pan après pan, et dessinons un territoire. Nous tranchons au centre en faisant corps à corps, et chemin faisant, nous devenons cette lumière nouée. Une lumière nouée qui dit notre stupeur, notre vide, et propulse nos cris. La peur a une allure plus qu'une forme, ou plutôt elle a des allures. Ces allures sont ces traces laissées à terre qui correspondent à la distance et à la position entre le pas avant et le pas arrière. Il faut apprendre à être tout-terrain, à franchir guet mortel et parois monstrueuses, l'inclination étant notre meilleur allié. Tout peut être si réel et peut simultanément disparaître dans l'instant du doute. Nous sommes des êtres capillaires, tous se hérissent. À cet endroit-ci, la peau. Irréversiblement, cette dernière se constelle de petits picots. En se dressant, les poils emprisonnent une couche d'air. La peur est liquide. Elle se mêle à nos gouttelettes de sueur, à nos larmes, à notre salive, à tous nos écoulements. Elle est transmissible par le bâillement de mère en fils. Elle se propage en battements de cils de père en fille, quasi comme un virus. Et pourtant, nous continuons à nous toucher, à tendre nos mains, à nous agripper, à nous tenir longtemps, oui, longtemps par nos mains, et si indéfectiblement, à tellement étirer nos bras, au risque d'être à jamais indéterminés, à nous dévisager de si loin, mais si loin, tellement loin, au-delà de cette fenêtre, au-delà de cette lueur, au-delà de notre dernier reflet. Et pourtant, nous continuons à nous toucher, à tendre nos mains, à nous agripper, à nous tenir longtemps, oui, longtemps par la main, à tellement étirer nos bras au risque d'être à jamais indéterminés, à nous dévisager de si loin, mais si loin, tellement loin, au-delà de cette fenêtre, au-delà de cette lueur, au-delà de notre dernier reflet. réveil, nous ne connaissons plus ce que nous avons tant connu. Au réveil, nous sommes suspendus, sans lien aucun. Au réveil, éteints, nous ne connaissons plus que notre propre étirement. Et il y a ce commencement vertigineux. Je me tiens au bord, devant, en face d'eux, vis-à-vis d'eux, en regard d'eux, face à, sans intermédiaire, sans nom, directement, sans médiation. Opposé à, je me tiens en présence d'eux, sans accès, dans l'immédiat, ouverte. Je suis pétrifiée. Je te discerne, je suis renversée. Je te distingue, je suis sidérée. Je t'aperçois, je suis assiégée. Je te devine, je suis sans voix. Je te perçois, je suis habitée. Je t'entends, je suis assaillie. Je te découvre, je suis submergée. Je te note, je suis emportée. Je te vois, je suis débordée. Je te scrute, je suis interdite. Je te considère, je suis soufflée. Je te dévisage, je suis foudroyée. Je t'explore, je suis dédoublée. Je te parcours, je suis fracturée. Je t'ébauche, je suis ébahie. Je te trace, je me fractionne. Je te flaire, je me fragmente. Je te réfléchis. Je me scinde, je te respire. Je ne peux t'assimiler. Je t'odore, je m'exerce. Je ne peux te nommer. Je m'étire, je t'effleure. Je me tends, je t'écoute. Je me manifeste. Je te palpe, je me déploie. Je t'évoque, je te formule, je t'articule, je me situe, je t'adresse, tu t'avances. Te voilà. Je me dépose.
Thank you.
All right. Give it up one more time for the poets and the class.